Do a quick safety check. All is safe. Let's fire on some power here. There we go. Radio's behaving the way it usually does. Now we're going to need to plug in my signal level meter here. Oh, I heard a little bit. Just for a fraction of a moment there. That's kind of interesting too. Because I do have my signal generator running. Hey, that does sound like a radio, doesn't it? Fantastic. And that's up around... where are we here? Now the wonky signal coming out of my signal generator should no longer be wonky. I see the numbers are jumping around up there. And that indicates the output from the signal generator is a little too low to operate my frequency counter, which requires a pretty good signal. But we're up at a high frequency right now, so we can go to the other end of the band. Let's do that. We'll go to the other end of the... this is the top shortwave band. And it goes from 6 megacycles to 16. Covers a lot, so we'll go to 6. And I think my counter will become a little more stable. Okay, right around here somewhere. Not my counter, but signal generator put out a better signal. Hey, where is it? I think the last thing I did was clean this switch here. Where did the signal go? What was that? Something kind of weird happened there. There's a little click click. I think you probably heard that on camera, but then the radio had more life in it after that, so more capacitor is gonna give out here. Well, that's a little disappointing. I'm not picking it up. Band switch is still pretty wonky here. .5, and that's very good. That's very close to what it should be. Very good. Switch is good. Where that wind-blown sound is coming from, I don't know. What's that, Bobby? More capacitors? I'm just checking to see if it's changing, if it's getting weaker, or... because it seems to be. That's not very good, is it? What's all that scratchy sound in there? Ooh. Something meeting its end right in front of us here. Maybe then I'm going to have to replace all these capacitors because okay, so it's right through the radio right now. It doesn't matter what band I had it on, that scratchiness was where to go. Where to go. When you put it to phono, it disappears. Yeah, it's the same scratchy on all bands. Okay, so that tells me that scratchy sound is coming from somewhere a little later in the radio. This radio, we can't pull out any tubes, and the rest of the tubes will cool off right away. So we really can't pull a tube and see if, you know, cutting off that part of the circuit, does it? Oh, smokes. Who's giving up the ghost here? I find this knocking around thing hardly ever works. But it's fun to do, so I like that. Checking the loose tube? No. The last time we were able to pick find a voltage that was jumping around. Let's give that another shot. Because I certainly can't be aligning this radio like this. I'm looking for a good spot to stick my ground lead on again. I thought I had one that was easy. No, there isn't an easy one. So let's interrupt the power briefly. Okie doke. It's volume sensitive, so we know it's before the volume. So it's going to be one of these two tubes, I think, and this circuit's in here. Let's take a look at the one that I was curious about before. Slight negative. And I think that was a higher negative voltage there before. There's nothing there now. Where's the B plus? Time for probe cam. Probe cam may have a problem here. Not so good on the probe cam this time. My probe's a little short. Okay, back to just trying to spot the B plus, a 150 volt scale. Meter on backwards. There we are. That's 100 volts, just what it's supposed to be. Now the sound is going to disappear on me. Well, we narrowed down the sounds coming. They're coming out of. Again, there's a pretty good risk that there's a capacitor right up in these IF coils that's making that noise. I could change all these paper ones and have zero effect on it. Which is another reason why I think diagnosing the problem properly is an important step to take. Another thing about these radios is often the owners want them to work just for demonstration purposes, so they can show them to their friends and say, hey, look, turn it on and it works, and they're not so critical about how well it works or anything like that in most cases. So again, the restoration side of it just unless somebody says, I want my radio restored to working like new condition, that's usually when we discuss the price of that, they're not so happy about it. So, no more noise. What am I supposed to do now? Continue with the alignment, I guess, because the problem has left us. Something else has left us. Looks like it's not receiving anymore. Okay, so that's phono AM. Oh, it's starting up again after I flip this switch. Yeah, you can actually see a spot. Maybe it's the switch here still. My chemical cleaning didn't do the trick. I don't know if you can see this on camera or not, but if you look right there, and that little white goes right under this clip. Yeah, I'm gonna have to touch every one of those. Where'd my poker go? Here it is. Definitely seems that I work the switch, this acts up. Sounds almost like a short over between two. Yeah, let's go in for a good close look at this situation here. Wow, and you get a good close look at it. Yeah. Gotta go deal with a cat. Okay, nothing like some cat antics there. It's so cold, I've left my blinds down on the windows around the house. And the cats are a little anxious to see outside. So I see this particular one, there's a clip underneath. It starts making contact. Yeah, and these are terrible looking. They look like... Can't even really see them in there. When I'm watching this live, of course, my hand is shaking a little bit. Later, after processing, there's no question that I got a lot of problems with this switch here. Let's look at the next wafer. Yuck. Don't want to short anything out here. Yeah, this thing really needs some work, I think. Yikes. How are you gonna clean that? A little piece of, I don't know what. Something, I gotta get in there and mechanically clean that all up. I don't know how. Wafer switch is my bane of existence here. It seems to be a lot of white stuff, and I wonder if that's from the spray I sprayed on here. I've never seen that before. That's what we got to attend to before we do anything else. And I'm going to shut the power off here. We need to eliminate the switch as being a cause of all this nonsense. Now, let's see, a couple ways to do it. Pencil eraser is a very good way. I'm just going to clean everything I can get at. Yeah, the wind is just howling outside. It's minus 20. That's pretty darn cold. With the wind, it's unbelievable. It's not a good day to be outside. Nice day to be down in the basement, huddled around some vacuum tube equipment. That's just perfect. So how does that look now that I got in there? Looks a little better. Lots more to it though. How am I supposed to do the underside? See, in a full-blown restoration, you would take all this apart. Those look just horrible up in there. Just clean everything we can get at. We'll worry about the rest after. And little bits of eraser rubber can get in here too, and hopefully it would just fall away after a little bit. pencil's a little too big. Yeah, I got lots of little eraser debris in there now. Now, could that have fixed anything? I doubt a little bit. Let's go and see what it looks like now. I'd say these things have corroded a bit. That one looks pretty clean now. Oops, sorry. The back side here. Nothing on the back side of that. Nothing on the back side of that one. One connector on the back of that one. See it back there? There. Right there. So I get my pencil. Oh, I can't get my pencil in there. Sorry about the focus. Well, it's lifting the switch a bit, so there's another one back there. Wow. So I'm looking at each of the contact surfaces as they pass under the switches, looking to see that they're clean, and you know, the actual little part of contact, the little skid mark, if you like, it actually looks pretty good. That doesn't look too good back in there. I'm looking at the far right one. Right. You can also feel something in the switch, something grindy. I can't really imagine I could feel that. Switch contact. So you know, that could be the one right there. I wonder if we can get our eraser up in there. So I gotta flip it back. Try to get past that last little switch. Sorry about the focus again. Apologize for the focus, but I just... Okay, now we'll take a look at that back one again. That's the phono position anyway, and there's no noise in the phono position. Let's try the radio again. check on safety situation. Looks good. Okay, a couple of slugs of coffee there. Here it comes. Well, I'm hearing the same old noise here. What are you thinking? I don't know. Now, the reason I sprayed those was just to see if I could make a difference here. Yeah, I don't think it's a switch now. Lots of noise when I don't touch anything, so don't be fooled. I'm trying not to be fooled. Oh, these are some of the hardest kinds of problems to ferret out. Well, I don't think it's a switch. Somebody else is causing this problem. Could be the tube too, you know. Why don't we get rid of some tubes here? Hey, that'd be a good idea. Let's see what I got. Okay, I'm gonna hunt down some tubes. I think a 12AT7, 12AT6, rather 12BA6, 12BA6. We'll substitute some tubes at this point. Okay, so I've got a couple of replacement tubes here, 12BA6 and a 12 BE6, and as I'm holding them, they're untested. Generally, I've kept good tubes, so these are probably good. But I can't be absolutely sure. So we'll do the 12BE6 first. Pull it out. Double check it. 12BE6. Put that over there. Take this 12BE6 tube. Put it in. And we'll start her up. Something not right here. The supply voltage has jumped right up to full, 125. That means there's no current draw on here. I'll wiggle that tube a bit, but it looks like it's an open heater. Yeah. Okay, so that tube's not going to do so good. Put that one aside. See if I can find another 12BE6 now. Hey, here's one right here. Okay, let's cut the power. Stick it in. Okay. Let's watch that voltmeter now. That's a little better. That's what we expect to have happen. There we go. Okay, so this guy's heating up anyway. Well, that doesn't sound any different, does it? Okay, so we're going to flip back the original. BE6. Always double checking. I'm just looking at some of the labeling on the side of the IF can here while the tube was out, and it's heavily labeled, and I think those IF cans were sold with capacitors in them tuned. So, okay, now the 12BA6, which is going to be this guy right here, I believe. 12BA6, yep. Put him over there. Pick up our spare 12BA6. And we'll stick that in. It's just a little dark for me to see what I'm doing here. Oh! Okay, I was seeing it totally wrong. There we go. Let's put a little more light on the subject. And we're ready now. Cross your fingers, because the staticky sound is coming, is controlled with the volume control. I'm assuming it must come from the earlier part of the radio. That's one of these two tubes. If it is a tube, it has to be this tube. So I'm crossing my fingers, hitting the power, getting the proper voltage response. So the tube is heating. Time for... Oh, I left my coffee upstairs, I think. Darn it. Okay, no time for coffee break. And what do we got? I would say it sounds exactly the same. Now, is there any chance it's coming from the 12ET6, which is on the far side of the volume control? You know what it could be? Perhaps the... here's the volume control. That's fitting into the grid of the 12AT7, so no, I don't think so. Besides, when we switch to phono, the sound disappears, and the phono is connected down here. So it's got to be somewhere back in here. And I hate to say it, it's probably the capacitors inside this can. In fact, you see the capacitors are actually shown inside the can. Oh, I've done two of these in the past. They are a hassle to fix. So you have to go in, you basically have to mechanically cut away the defective capacitors and then install external capacitors of a similar or appropriate value. It's tricky business. It's really tricky. You have to install them external to the can. I mean, this really does have the characteristics of that kind of problem. The sound of it, which is often described as sounding like lightning crashes, and that's certainly what we're hearing here. So a big decision now. Do we go ahead and take out one of these IFs and attempt to do something to it? And which one would it be? Pray tell. Put in the original 12BA6. And lament over the situation with this radio here. I'll show you what I mean by the IFs. See if it says patented 1948. I mean that's a little unusual to see. Let's get her focusing here. There you are. See that right on the side of the can? There's another one on there too. So I think what happened is one of the manufacturers said, you know what, we can make IFs, build them in and sell them as a thing to manufacturers. With the built-in capacitors. Save you some tuning steps when you're building the radio, stuff like that. How to prove it. How to prove that before taking one of those out. Well, I think you know what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to set this radio aside. Have a few discussions around it at this point. You know, I could change all the paper capacitors. I'm 90% sure we'll turn it on. We'll hear exactly the same thing. We know the radio is working in behind the static. And the only time I've ever heard that kind of static come out of a radio, been bad switches, true enough. The other one is these defective capacitors inside the IFs. So I think we're going to have to set this guy aside, and I'll post up the video, I'll get some comments, maybe some guidance on how to proceed next with it. And darn that autofocus. And go on to the next one, because you know what, I got two more radios waiting. I got to get on to them. So we've made it some distance into this one, and now it's a real problem going forward from here, I think. So hey, let's get one. I'll put this one away, and let's get one of those other radios going. That'll be good.